On his first day back in the White House, President Donald Trump signed an executive order cracking down on what he called illegal and radical diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. After his first 100 days in office, Trump has managed to purge government and military diversity initiatives. He also threatened to strip billions of dollars from universities that didn't roll back diversity incentives. Marquette University professor Dr. Rob Smith joins us to discuss why DEI is now in the crosshairs. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
So, after signing his executive order to eliminate DEI, Trump said, quote, "We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based." How did diversity, equity, and inclusion get in the crosshairs?
Well, it's always been in the crosshairs. Obviously, the language of colorblind policy dates back to the Jim Crow era in the ways that the federal courts interpreted the 14th Amendment to then make room for Jim Crow segregation in the face of an amendment that actually clearly sanctioned full citizenship. So by the time we get into the 1960s, this fundamental question of equal opportunity is being addressed in a number of ways, politically and legally in the courts, particularly in reference to higher education and education more broadly, Brown decision, of course, and then also in employment. And so what DEI represents is the maturation of equal opportunity in education and employment that's gone through the rigors of judicial interpretation, as well as other policies that then clearly earmarked what schools could do, what employment institutions could do to make sure that those institutions remain fair and equal in terms of access to all folks, and then ultimately meeting the muster of the law. So the crosshairs, in terms of DEI being in the crosshairs, it's always been there. But to refer to it as radical and illegal is just simply not true. This is race baiting. This is using race as a clarion call in a lot of ways. It's indeed this political theater that has deeply impacted politics. And it's more importantly, James, the process by which this administration is looking to destroy the architecture of equal opportunity broadly in education and employment.
Well, what has been the fallback for companies that have rolled back DEI?
Well, you know, folks have met resistance in terms of boycotts. Mm-hmm. There are people who may not ever take part with sharing their dollars with some of these companies again. We see how performative a lot of that activity was over the last several years in particular. And also we know that for many of these corporations, because it was performative, they weren't ever really serious about it to begin with.
That's the point. So are you surprised that companies roll back so quickly?
No, not at all. Not at all, because so much of this is still very new. And as we know, across employment sectors in particular, there's sector after sector where there's been very little significant growth in African-American presence anyway.
Who benefits primarily from DEI? Is it really white women? That's what you hear all the time.
When we go through the legal and historical trajectory, particularly around equal employment opportunity, white women were certainly the larger community of benefactors from what we used to refer to as affirmative action. It's indeed true that gender equality as well as racial equality was a significant part of Title VII, the equal employment provision of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But we also see how important the presence and the welcoming of women more broadly into various areas and facets of higher education has been under Title IX. So the questions around racial and gender inclusion, and there's that word, right? Mm-hmm. Inclusion has been significantly impacted by the presence of white women.
So when the helicopter and the airplane crash happened, Donald Trump he took to the mic right away and he blamed DEI as was responsible for this in some kind of way. Are you surprised that he did that? And are you surprised that this is what it's come to?
Not at all. We should not be surprised at anything that comes out of this administration or any of the ways that race is being manipulated by Trump and others. I mean, this is a very clear indication of the ways that white nationalist sentiments have infected our federal government and has been a part of shaping this policy agenda. So that kind of language, that kind of race baiting, that's going to be here throughout this administration.
So as we prepare to celebrate Juneteenth on June 19th, some cities are rolling back their Juneteenth activities because out of fear of DEI and what the Trump administration may do. Do you think he will go after Juneteenth?
To directly answer your question, maybe. The truth is, there's nothing anyone can do to injure the brilliance and the importance of Juneteenth. Juneteenth has been celebrated long before it was a federal holiday, and it will be celebrated long after. Now, of course, for those folks who might have to work on Juneteenth in the event that that happens, that's unfortunate, but we'll figure out another way to celebrate like we always have. That is the moment where, as African Americans, citizenship was indeed recognized. We won't let that go.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.